Picture the rain. It pours down in relentless, heavy sheets, turning the banks of the Hyphasis River into a soup of thick, choking mud. You are standing among thousands of Greek soldiers. You have marched over 17,000 miles. Your armor is rusted, your boots are rotting, and your body is mapped with scars. Behind you lies the conquered Persian Empire. Ahead, shrouded in the monsoon mists, lies India. In our history, this is where the march ended. The weary soldiers mutinied, and a weeping Alexander was forced to turn back. But what if he didn't? What if Alexander's legendary charisma flared one last time, convincing his men to plunge deep into the subcontinent? What if they kept marching? The immediate obstacle is the Nanda Empire. Waiting on the other side of the river is an army of staggering proportions, 80,000 cavalry, 200,000 infantry, and thousands of formidable war elephants. In our timeline, the mere rumor of this force terrified the Greeks. But now, Alexander crosses. The clash is unlike anything the ancient world has ever seen. The Macedonian phalanx, a wall of 18-foot pikes called sarissas, faces the unstoppable momentum of armor-clad war elephants. It is a slaughter, but Alexander's tactical brilliance prevails. Yet, he doesn't just defeat the Nanda, he absorbs them. He realizes that to rule this vast, spiritual land, he cannot merely be a conqueror. He must become one of them. This is where the timeline truly begins to fracture. Instead of returning to Babylon to die of a mysterious fever at age 32, Alexander remains in the east. He establishes a new capital on the banks of the Indus River. Here, a spectacular fusion of civilizations begins. We call it syncretism. Imagine walking through the streets of this new metropolis. You see Greek stone carvers sculpting statues of the Buddha, but they give him the face of Apollo and the draped robes of a Greek philosopher. You see temples where Greek gods are worshipped alongside Hindu deities. In this world, Greek rationalism meets Eastern mysticism. Greek philosophers debate Buddhist monks in grand, sun-drenched courtyards. This Greco-Indian superpower becomes the intellectual and economic center of the ancient world. They control the Silk Road before it even has a name. But a superpower cannot remain isolated. Eventually, Alexander's eyes turn back to the west. But he is no longer just a Macedonian king. He is the ruler of a unified Eurasian empire, backed by the limitless wealth of India and an army that has mastered the use of war elephants. When he finally returns to the Mediterranean, the landscape is completely different. In our history, Rome was beginning its slow rise to dominance. But now, Rome is still a fragile, regional republic, fighting petty wars against its neighbors. Imagine the Roman Senate receiving the news: an army of 250,000 men, led by the undefeated Alexander, is marching toward Italy. They bring weapons made of superior Indian steel and beasts of war that the Romans have never even seen. The Roman legions, famous for their discipline, are utterly crushed. The young republic is snuffed out before it can ever build its empire. Carthage, the great trading power of North Africa, quickly bows to Alexander's naval might. The Mediterranean becomes a giant Greco-Indian lake. The rise of Rome is completely erased from history. Think about the massive domino effect of this single change. Without Rome, there is no Roman Empire. There is no Pax Romana. The Latin language never becomes the foundation of Western civilization. Christianity, which spread along Roman roads, might remain a small, localized sect, or perhaps it fuses with Buddhist and Greek philosophy, creating an entirely different world religion. The legal systems, the architecture, the very way we think about the world today would be unrecognizable. Instead of a world shaped by Roman law and medieval Christianity, we live in a world defined by a global, scientific, and deeply spiritual Greco-Buddhist renaissance. A world where the Library of Alexandria was never burned, but instead expanded with the ancient wisdom of the East. All because one man, standing in the pouring rain in 326 BC, refused to turn back. What do you think our modern world would look like if this ancient superpower had survived? Would we have reached the stars centuries earlier, or would the empire have collapsed under its own massive weight? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to keep exploring the infinite paths of history, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, keep questioning the world you know.